Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
What is going on, kings, queens, and the entire spectrum in between? It is your boy Kwame, and I am back with yet another episode of Kwame Speaks Live. I'm so excited, you guys. I'm always excited, but I'm extra excited because Parnell Marcano is one of my just favorite humans in the world. One of the reasons why I wanted him to come on is because he made a major impact. He probably doesn't know this. He's in the green room. He made a major impact on me when he was on one of my favorite shows, because I don't get to see a lot of me, and I know for a lot of you, we don't get to see a lot of us on TV and represented in our fullness. So he did a phenomenal job representing us and just being just a great human. And so I'm gracious and grateful and happy to have this king come on this show right now. Before I do, I want to see who's hey, Sister Michelle, thank you for joining. Appreciate you. You look very radiant and gorgeous. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining. Hey, Dr. Holt, thank you for joining. Hey, do me a favor, y'all. While you are waiting, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. That's right, subscribe if you haven't done so already. It does help the algorithm, and it does help, everybody see what we're doing. And if you're feeling blessed on today, if you're feeling gracious, go ahead and hit that cash up for your boy, okay? Praise God. If you're feeling it, you're shata shando right behind your kidney supreme, okay? Praise God. We thank you. We thank you for the blessings ahead of time. And also, please remember that this is a bully-free zone. So any opinions that my guest has or I have, it's all copacetic here, y'all. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody's cool to have it, all right? And this is for you, YouTube. Anything that we're playing, we either have the rights for or it's fair use. Don't be shutting us down. Anywho, who's in the building? Hey, Tony, how you doing, King? Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Inspire is in the building. What's up, Queen? How you doing? Thank you for joining. Gather around, y'all. Gather around. Get your seats in the front. Pass out the popcorn, because we have an amazing king on today. Like I said, this man, okay, has done it all. While you guys are doing all that, let me tell you something. Originally, he's from Denver, Colorado. Parnell Marcano has called Los Angeles his home since 1988. He looks 23, y'all. I'm just saying. He looks 23. I can't help it. All right? So I want you to prepare yourself, because you're about to see some gorgeousness. And you already see yours truly, but you're about to see some handsomeness there. But let me tell you something. He's married. Don't even try it. Don't get crazy. All right. Without further ado, please help me welcome the one, the only, the talented, the melanated proficient, Parnell Marcano.
I love it. I'm like, 33, maybe 23. I was like, wait a minute, hold on.
Listen, I'm trying to get you gigs, okay? Get you gigs out here.
Yes. Thank you for that wonderful. I've been good. It's so good to see your face. I know we cross paths every now and again, just accidentally.
Yes.
So this is nice to have an on purpose meeting in time to fellowship.
Amen. Amen. Yes. Yes. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. First and foremost, for those who may not know, please let people know who you are, where you're from, and what you do, and why you do it.
My name's Parnell. And I'm from Denver. And
I know that's right.
Parnell Damone Marcano. I'm like, why are you saying Parnell D Marcano? You one of the people who's like,
I don't like messing up people's names.
That's what I figured. I was laughing when you said that. I said he's one of those like, how you say that middle name?
Because some people you could be like Devon, you know?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. I was named after Parnell Roberts of Bonanza fame and Vic Damone, who was big Diane Carroll's ex-husband, and they were both big stars, when my mom was young. And so when she was thinking of names, I'm like, so you named me after two showbiz icons. I was destined to be in this industry. So I grew up in Denver, Colorado, and majored in musical theater at Loretto Heights College out there. Moved to LA, have been here ever since, and this was like, I'm one of those people who moved to LA with a dream. And like $1,200 to my name. Don't do that. Don't do that.
$1,200 nowadays in 2023 will only get you probably a day.
Right. But it was just one of those things, when you're a little 20-year-old, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get out there and it's gonna happen. I'm gonna start making this. It doesn't happen like that. There were a lot of sofa surfing and house sitting and all that stuff doing until I finally landed my first real job, and I was on a game show. I was on a Scrabble game show, and I won $8,500. And that allowed me to get into my first car, first apartment. And as God is my witness, I have never been homeless again.
We thank you, Lord, for your constant coverage.
Yes.
Yes. Now, what got you? Like, what was your I guess your reasoning, your pull, your inspiration to pull you towards acting?
It was I really started out dancing a lot. It was when my sister and I were kids. I would choreograph little dance routines for us to enter talent shows and stuff.
Pause. I'm sorry, y'all. You dance?
Yes.
And what genres of dance did you dance?
Oh my goodness. I've done ballet, little tap, jazz, modern. Of course, you do hip hop as that comes on. Yeah, I'm a theater dude. So the musical theater style is really, yeah.
Can we geek out for 2.5 seconds?
Yes.
What was your favorite genre of dance?
Gosh, I would have to say that jazz and musical theater that's my favorite genre. I mean, because for me, street dance and stuff, that was its own little thing, but that was kind of like when I was growing up, street dance didn't have the platform that it has today. It was kind of like street dance is what you do over here, but real dancing is on stage and in the studio. I mean, so it's so nice to see, shows like So You Think You Can Dance, where we see all these different styles of dance given their respect that they're due, because everybody who's in those circles is like, yes, this is my art, this is my style, and it deserves recognition and applause and affirmation as well. And of course, being in that generation, Gen X, where hip hop was born, coming up and seeing street dance and hip hop recognized and like is the style that we see everywhere. It's like, that's right. We did something.
Yeah. No, I lit up because I think oftentimes, well, nowadays it's a little different. When I was growing up, dance was just kind of like a secondary thing. Like people didn't really pay it too much attention. There wasn't a lot of MSA and the Dancers Alliance and all the stuff, whatever block, they weren't really prominent. And so now, you're seeing dance. People are able to live off of dance. People are able to kind of do those different things. Let's see here. Inspired says Kwame, my sister danced first company for Alvin Ailey. That was one of my old schools. My alma mater is the Ailey School. Elder Kwame, has Mr. McConnell worked with Alvin Ailey? Have you? I don't know if he's worked with Alvin Ailey.
No, I was never like a concert style dancer. That really wasn't my thing. For me, singing is my first love. The only reason I started dancing because I was really shy when I was a kid. So I didn't want to open my mouth in front of people. So I'm like, I would dance, but I only sung around friends and family until I was like in 6th grade and I was in all city choir. That was the first thing. And I sung Denise Williams, That's What Friends Are For. I think that's what I sang. Yeah. I can't sing it in that key these days, but and that I think got me started really like, oh, singing is really, really my first love. That's my way of communicating. If I'm happy, if I'm pissed off, if I'm in love, if I want to feel political and stuff, music and singing is the thing that really just like, okay, this is how I communicate what I'm feeling. And so when I was trying to decide which path do I go, do I follow a dance path? Do I follow singing? Do I follow acting? And then, because I used to watch all those old musicals, from back in the day, Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire. Gene Kelly was my man. I love me some Gene Kelly. It's like, oh, wow, there's a career path where I can do all 3 of these at the same time. I don't have to choose one. And so I went into musical theater.
Now, I love musical theater because a lot of people don't know. Like my dance background, kind of led me into some Broadway events that I did, or Broadway positions that I did. Like I was in Wicked as a background dancer. I was in The Lion King as a background dancer. I was a gazelle. And I was an understudy for. I think what was I an understudy for? I think one of the lionesses, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I digress. But that was a different experience because, when you are doing concert dance or your concert style performing dance, it's very like you're focusing in a different way. When you are in Broadway or musical theater, there's a different type of thinking that you have to have because you're not the forefront. You're not there to, you're there to be, you have to learn how to be an accessory, or be a follower. And that's something that, it's funny because I don't know if a lot of people, I forget what is that, the movie with Nick Cannon, the band, Drumline. There was a quote in there that says, you must learn how to be a follower in order for you to be a good leader, or something along that lane. And that was something that I learned in musical theater, and it made me feel. It helped me in the military when I joined because I learned how to follow. Because then that made me understand what it meant to be a leader. And that it also took. I didn't need to always be in the limelight or in the front. And so that was really interesting to me. What were your thoughts when you got into musical theater and you started doing different performances and, being in that realm? Do you see it different from what you do now?
Yeah, I think it was always a thing, we were saying earlier about knowing your lane, when you are the star and when the moment is not, when you are supporting. And so there was sometimes, I think I did something, one show I was singing with a friend of mine, and I did something where I had the high note in this thing because I used to really high tenor back then. And my professor was like, you just kind of stuttered that moment. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to stutter the moment. I just did some little move. And it's like, but that automatic makes people go like, shoom.
Right.
And so those little lessons of learning is like, okay, don't do anything that calls, especially like when you're in the ensemble.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do anything that calls attention to you specifically. But I've always been like, I said, well, tell them to pull up.
You didn't step up, girl. It's so funny you said that because that was something that I didn't learn that when I got to Ailey, it was before all that. I used to get into to arguments all the time with my dance teachers. I remember I did a apprenticeship, a summer apprenticeship at Juilliard for a little bit, and they could not stand me. First of all, I was one of the only Black male dancers there, and I was good. I had a football player's body build, but I could dance and I could lift the girls, and so that was something that they were looking for, because there wasn't a lot of dudes, back then, at least when I was growing up, that were like premier, like really kind of focus on that was what I wanted to do. I remember one of my dancers. You can't be, the principal dancers are in charge. You can't be just in the crowd. I was like, well, girl, I don't know what to tell you. What do you want me to do? I'm fine, girl. She needs to get up there. She's over there looking like a stiff stick in a grasshopper. What you want me to do?
Oh, I see my Supremes fan Tony Ross is up in the building. Hey, Tony.
Oh, Tony's in the building.
I know people.
What's that again?
I know people.
Right.
Wait, so, I got to tell you my Lion King story, because I auditioned for that show like a million times and was never cast in it, and it would always be that same thing. I come in, I sing, "Oh, sound great, Parnell, thanks," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know I sound great. That's why I'm here." But never get cast. But I went to the dance call, and that was like the scariest thing for me. I can't remember the dancer's name, but they was kind of like, I'll just say Kevin. So this is Kevin. He's going to dance it for you guys 3 times. And you got 5 minutes to work it out. We go in groups of 3.
Oh my God, yes.
5 minutes. I mean, everybody in the room was like, watching every step. And I made
he's doing like 20 counts.
Right. And it was just kind of like, okay. And I made it through the entire dance call until they got to the gymnastics portion. And I'm like, I said, but I'm a singer dancer. Why y'all dismissing me as a singer, but as a dancer, you keep me through to the end. And lots of my friends have been in Lion King, and they were just like, because they were like, well, how come you're not in the King? And I'm like, I don't know. Ask them. And finally, somebody said, you're not. Whoever's in your size costume isn't leaving the show. And that was one of the things, that was those lessons that we tell people all the time. So it's not personal. Halftime has got nothing to do with your talent. It's got nothing to do with your look. It's got, what do we need to replace? But we've already got we've already got people in that height range, and they're not leaving the show. So we don't got nothing for you. We don't got, I went to college. We don't have anything for you. And so I did get my Lion King fix. I did Tell of the Lion King at Disneyland for a while, and that was fun. It was the first all-Black cast that Disney has ever had. And, they just celebrated their 1-year anniversary. So kudos to everybody that's still doing the show. It was a fun experience. But things change and you move on to do other things.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Some of the cats, I don't really talk about when I'm on Pyro. I don't really talk about my dance background. So this is a real big treat for me, and a lot of them were really shocked. They're like, Juilliard, I'm in Italy. Yes, I did those things.
He did some things.
Yeah. And what's funny is that Parnell's talking about something that is a really real situation. That happens, and I've seen a lot of girls, guides, people have their hearts broken because they don't understand the industry, and they think it's more of them than it is what is the needs of the show. And so Dr. Also, like, excuse me. But a lot of time, and that's something that I have learned when I joined the military. I wanted to be, in certain duty stations, and it was like the Army will tell you, it's not what you can tell the Army what you want, but it's the needs of the Army. So that's cute that you want to go to Fort Drum and be near your family. We're going to send you all the way over to the West Coast.
Right.
So, but it's interesting that you say that. So let's get into some of your acting. Like, what made you were you focused more on acting after a while, or you what was that looking like for you when you were funneling it?
I think I had always been performing in some kind of way. Like, I would do little skits for, again, family and friends, and we did stuff. And, back in school, how you would read a story and everybody would take a chance to read a paragraph or a page or whatever. Yeah. And I would be one of the only people who acted out the characters in the story. And it got so popular that the teacher would just be like, no, go ahead. And I would end up basically reading almost the whole story because people just liked the way I acted things out. I think that was the first time I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I think I'm good at this. But again, the shyness kept, that was friends in my classroom. Being in front of total strangers, that was a whole other ball game. And I didn't hit that stride until about 15, 16. Was when I really was like, I joined, vocal ensemble, and I started really training in dance. My senior year, I was one of the first 4 boys to be on our cheerleading team, and the first boy to ever be co-captain of the cheerleading squad. So,
Great, let's go. Ready? Okay. You know what's funny? When I was in high school, the dance team and the cheerleaders they hated each other. Like they hated each other. It was so funny to me. I just, because I was like, we're doing the same thing, you guys. It's
right.
not that deep.
Let's do it all together. We're all here to raise the spirit of our school,
right?
And I think high school. I think that's when I really, really hit my stride of just like going, okay, yeah, you're good at this. People responded well to whether I was singing, whether I was dancing, whether I was acting. It's like, okay, this boy's got some talent, and I was smart, so that helped a lot. Because it was funny because my circle of friends, even still to this day, are so varied. I hung out with the nerds, I hung out with the cool kids, I hung out with the jocks, I hung out with the theater geeks, so there was just like, I kind of knew, and I was kind of like, you don't know so-and-so? I was like, no. Like, why don't y'all know each other? They were in a whole different circle.
Yeah.
So they did. I was like, oh, okay. And once I got to college, and it was a thing, like I was one of maybe 3 or 4 Black guys on campus out of a total of maybe 8 Black people. And it was a small liberal arts college. So I used to look through my friends' yearbook, and they were like, what are you doing? So I'm counting the Black people.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have very many. So that was a great way to represent coming through up through that. And I still now sometimes wish I would have gone to an HBCU, but at the time I thought I needed to go to a predominantly white university because I had gone to a predominantly Black and Mexican school.
Right.
I said, well, I need to probably go to a predominantly white school so I can learn how to, how do I deal with white people in this? They could have waited 4 more years, but
right.
But I have some really the friends you make in college are the ones you really have for your life.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those people of all different colors, Black, white, whatever, we're still in touch to this day. And we watched each other's children grow up and all those things and support each other. And a lot of them watched Greenleaf and were hitting me up like, oh my God, I just saw the Greenleaf show. I'm so proud of you. I was like, that's my friend. And people don't believe me when I say I know you. And I'm like, yeah. And it's nice to be on the receiving end of that, because I'm usually like, oh, I know that person. I know that person.
Now, let me ask you, because I want to deep dive into that a little bit, because that was before Greenleaf happened. I met you through our good friend Dr. Dante Morrison, and I was a part of the Healthy Him program, and you came to speak. It was kind of like an intergenerational conversation, and I absolutely love that. That was one of my favorite meetings, and that was one of the meetings that we had that really stuck out to me. Not just because I got to meet you, but because I hadn't really talked to a lot of older, mature people that look like me and was like me. And so it was nice to see, and have those conversations like, hey, we've been through this. We understand what's going through that, whatever. And it was just really nice to have that conversation. And I understood, because I was kind of in the middle. I was old enough to understand Gen X talk, and still young enough to have a conversation with millennials and Gen Z. And so because I consider myself an older millennial, or an elder millennial, if you will. That's a little running joke in the TikTok world. But that was a conversation that stood out to me. Then to see you get on Greenleaf, I was like, I know him. It was nice to see that. And so, what was that experience like when you got on Greenleaf? How did that feel?
It felt rewarding, and I saw Dr. Holt's. I can be an honorary HBCU grad. Yes, thank you. I'll take that. I'll take that. I would love that. It was like when I came out as an actor, I intentionally wanted to be an openly gay performer, because there weren't really any. People had suspicions and rumors and whatever, but there weren't a lot of people who were just like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
And I knew that there were people coming up under me that needed to see that.
Yeah.
There's like, oh, well, he's like me, and I've talked to Billy Porter and Wilson Cruz, and I told them when they were a lot more, they're way more famous than I am, and they were famous before I was famous, and so it was kind of like I looked at theirs like, okay, see, you're on the right track. Stay open about who you are.
Yeah.
And because there are people who need to see that. And so I tell them, I said, you guys were part of my inspiration to stay open and not be like, okay, once you get a little bit of fame, go back in the closet. I'm like, no, that doesn't serve anyone. And it meant a lot to me when I had people come up to me and like, oh, I'm so glad you were playing that role, because that's my life. I lived that.
Yeah.
And it was nice, nothing against my film brothers and sisters, but we had seen so much of that.
Yeah.
It was nice to just see a gay dude who was just a dude who just happened to be gay.
Right.
And
absolutely.
And having T.C. Carson play my husband, it's like, oh my God, I remember watching him on Living Single. Now he's playing my husband. This is cool. This what?
Right. And it was so interesting because I think there's a lot of stereotypes and misconceptions. And I don't want to say misconceptions. There are, feminine, Black feminine gay men who are prominent, in media. But I think oftentimes it's used as a caricature for encompassing all that the Black gay community is, or the Black LGBTQIA plus community is, and that's not necessarily the case. We are not a monolith, just like the overall Black community is not a monolith, right? And so it was really, really nice to see that. And I think you did it justice. I want to talk more on that, but we got to pay some bills. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial. We'll be right back after these sponsors. You guys stay tuned with more of Parnell McConnell.
This episode is sponsored in part by Bullet and Flight Radio. Get ready to uplift your spirit with Bullet and Flight Radio, the world's leading progressive Christian radio station. Experience the vibrant fusion of gospel house music and a rich medley of inspiration from all musical genres that'll make your heart soar. Join their extraordinary lineup of today's trailblazers, visionaries, and voices that matter, all sharing their stories and wisdom. Stay plugged in around the clock as they broadcast unmissable content 24/7. Your go-to station for all things inspiring. Become a pilot today by visiting bulletandflightradio.com. Bullet and Flight Radio. Your story, our station. Step away from the chaos and noise of your daily life. Experience moments for yourself that are calm, serene, and full of peace. A necessary respite to foster growth within you, because self-care should be luxurious. Lux and Noir.
And we're Black by popular demand. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you are just tuning in, do me a favor, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. That's right, subscribe. And you can hit that notification bell so that way you can check out all the awesome things that's happening right here on Pyro Media Network and or Kwame Speaks Official. And if you are feeling so blessed and inclined, feel free to hit me up with a Cash App, Kwame C86. And if you're listening on Bullet and Flight Radio, thank you so much for listening. Go ahead and hit up that Cash App as well at Kwame C86. Also, thank you so much, Sister Michelle, for that PayPal. I appreciate you. And I can't see who this Cash App is, but I'll look in a second. But thank you for those who are putting in, and I really appreciate you. God bless you. We're here with Parnell. Parnell is the man with the plan. All right. Hey, Cocktails with the Trees. We appreciate you, Queen. Thank you for joining. We're here and meet the Whitakers. What's going on, Queens? Thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you. We appreciate you guys. All right, you guys. We're talking to Parnell D. McConnell, actor and entertainer. If you have ever watched Greenleaf, then you know that this man is the man with the plan. There he is, right there. Look at him. Look at that handsome face. All right, no powder needed. Okay, just gorgeous already. And here he is over here, just just chilling with with the celebrities. Not paying attention to us commoners. He's not looking over here, just in this world. But I want to talk about Greenleaf. We mentioned a little bit about Greenleaf prior to our the break. And one of the things that we talked about was, your feedback that you were getting, or the feedback that you were getting regarding you playing that position or that character. I want to kind of let you know my feelings on it because I think me seeing someone in the church who is Black, openly gay, had his husband there in a prominent, what do you call those? What do you call those churches? The mega churches, in a mega church, and being in a position that had power, that was, he was strong. He was like me, you know what I'm saying? And so that was, and he was doing the thing. He wasn't in any scandals. He wasn't in any drama. Compared to the other people that were on, the other characters that were on there, and you just saw a man loving someone else. Coming into and just loving God, and coming into and just singing and just doing his thing, doing his job, and being in service to the Lord, and that was eye-opening for me. That was interesting for me to see. How did it feel playing that? I know, like it's one thing to kind of experience and be you with it, but to kind of hear all of that, how did that feel?
I mean, it definitely was an ego boost. Like, ooh, because people are like, oh, I love what you're doing. Are you doing this? You play it real so well. But it was really that, again, the confirmation that being out was a good choice because people need to see that.
Yeah.
One of the things that made me so happy was that Reggie, Carlton's husband, was a Black man. Because so oftentimes when I've played gay roles, I'm always partnered with a non-Black person. And that's wonderful, and it's got its place too. I said, but I was just like, listen, Black gay men need to see us loving each other and in committed relationships with each other too.
Yeah.
Multicultural thing, that's wonderful, but we need to see Black men loving Black men. That needs to be shown. And
that multicultural thing is cute for Disney girls,
right? But we got to see that. We need to see, because I have like some white gay friends who didn't even know that Black men liked other Black men, because all the Black guys they knew all were dating white or Asian or Latino, and I was just like, well, I need to introduce you to some of my friends, because most of the Black gay men I know all have Black partners.
Right.
So it just kind of shows where our different perception of what we see and what our environment is. So having that, and again, like I was saying, representing just a regular dude was important. And that scene when TC and I are working on our muscle car, that was just like, we're like, thank you so much for not having us in the garden or baking or something. That's like, can we just do some dude stuff, please?
I mean, can we really? Really? A lot of people think, because okay, I'm never gonna go there because it's gonna start a whole conversation. But I understand what you're saying. Because it's gonna start a whole problem on TikTok for me, and I just don't have time. but I do think that's super important, to show different facets, whether it be with even different facets with lesbians, different facets with trans people, different facets with bisexual people. That there is multifaceted people having their doing hair, Tony.
Right, doing hair.
You know what I'm saying? Or love your seeds, it felt so real. Or and there's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of amazing humans that are hairdressers or stylists or whatever, but we always see that, right? We don't ever see, other facets of masculinity and manhood when it comes to the gay culture, and also in addition, okay, comma, or. So what frustrates me sometimes is that there always seems to be gender norms, or gender specifics when it comes to couples, especially gay couples. It's like, oh well, who's the wife?
Right.
There isn't a wife. That's why I'm gay.
Thank you. And I have said that to people when just like going, who's the wife? Who's the wife? And I won't cuss on your show because I don't know if it's that kind of show. But but it's just like what you really want to know is who's getting done in the booty, and that ain't your business.
Right. Who's doing the bending?
That's what you want to know, and that ain't your business.
It's not.
And what I love is that I had a friend of mine back in the day who was a little, slim cat, and he was dating this big buff dude. And they got home and says, what I love is that we're out in the street and everybody thinks that I'm doing you, and you get home and my brain's out. And I
wow.
And I'm just like, because we love a masculine bottom.
Yeah. And but you should sip your tea. but also, in addition to that, it's really none of your business what happens in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what's going on with you and your wife, girl, or your girlfriend, or your girl of the week. That's your business. That's I don't think that's appropriate. But I think going back to Greenleaf, one of the things that I appreciated was the story of it. Like, one of the things that stood out to me is like, because I forget her name, but she was a minister of music, a daughter, Charity. She came and she said, I need you back. I need because you had to they fired you because they didn't have the whole politics, like, we just don't have it in the budget. No, girl, you found out that I had a husband. That's what you found out. You found out that I was tipping and dipping. That's what you found out. But you didn't care that John Doe was sitting there sleeping with half the dang on choir. But you just care that me, am with a dude. But it's fine. And then when Charity comes back and she says, hey, girl, I need your help because I can't do it. I'm screwing up. Yes, you're screwing up because it wasn't your anointing. And you said to her, your character said to her, if I come back, I'm coming back as who I am. Mm-hmm. I'm not hiding in no closet. It's either that or I won't coming back.
Right. And it was funny with that storyline because it was one of those things like, when the scene with the fabulous Miss Lynn Whitfield, when she fires Carlton, it's like, oh, this is purely a financial, and it was a financial decision because the deacon board wasn't giving their pledges as long as Carlton's behind was up in there being gay and fabulous. So that was just the whole thing of just like, it really wasn't necessary. If Carlton had been, quiet and closeted like the previous, even though everybody knew that the previous choir director was gay, but here comes Carlton just like, oh, I'm not hiding it. My husband is right here, and I'm going to direct the hell out of this choir. That was the whole thing. And the fact that when we did that first scene and Reggie kisses Carlton on the cheek, and TC and I, we was like, oh, y'all trying to start something. Y'all know they're going to have a fit with these men kissing up in here. And it made a whole big thing. People like, oh, I just don't like any kind of couples kissing on and it's not. I was like, y'all lying, because I see straight couples kiss and stuff in church all the time, and nobody says anything unless it gets like a thing. I said, so y'all specifically had an issue.
Hold hands walking into the church. Right. They're praying together. It's like it's a whole big thing, and so like it's never an issue when they do it. And then it's like, well, we don't want to see that. It may hurt our child. Listen. All I saw was heterosexuality my entire life, all my children, days of our lives, and all of that jazz.
Right.
And I still came out a queer.
Right.
I don't understand what are you talking about. It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah. And I know, it was funny because, I love TC as a person, as my friend, and as an actor, because we did our homework on who those characters are. The first thing he said when he met us, like, okay, how long have we been together? What do I do? What do you think when you first saw me? I was like, oh, okay, we're doing the work. Yeah. And I feel like they really missed the boat on having a conversation, because one of the things that we said, they never talked about how Carlton and Reggie felt about Carlton being fired. It was always about how these straight people feel about him being fired, but they never focused on, okay, Carlton, how do you feel?
So are we going to go there, Parnell?
Yes, let's go there.
Okay, because I didn't know. Now that Greenleaf is not coming back, let's really go there. Let's have a conversation, because what's frustrating to me is, and what frustrated me is that they missed a huge opportunity to bring in conversation about homosexuality in the church.
Mm-hmm.
You were that funnel, that pivot point where they could have had a real deep dive conversation on it. And it really was a missed opportunity. And honestly, it made me side-eyed own. I'm sorry. Because it was like that was an opportunity for you guys to really not only embrace LGBTQI plus people into the church and into the show, but it was also an opportunity for us to deep dive and really start a deep conversation of healing. With art, i.e., the point of the show. So what were your thoughts on that?
Well, I would have loved to have had that conversation, to have seen that. I really would have loved for Carlton and Kevin to have had a conversation, because here we got Kevin's coming out, he's realizing that he's, I guess, bisexual, and just like, because everybody can say, oh, Carlton knows that, he knows he's gay, he knows that man's gay. I'm like, Carlton don't pay Kevin no mind. When Carlton and Charity got together, that's all they cared about, was the two of them getting together and making their music. Kevin was just like, hey, Kevin. Anyway, you know what I mean? But I thought that would have been a great conversation for him to be like, listen, I never was trying to blow up your spot. Now I understand what your ambivalence toward me was. That would have been a great conversation to have. Again, as like we were talking earlier, that intergenerational conversation, like, hey, I'm a gay man of a certain age. Let's talk about, what it is you're going. I can give you some resources or just support. I'm Charity's friend, but that don't mean I can't listen to what you're saying. I also would have loved to have seen them, Charity and Kevin, work it out. Because there are a lot of couples where one or the other partner, or sometimes both, are bisexual. And it would have been a great conversation to be like, hey, just because someone is bisexual doesn't make them any more of a cheater than anyone else who is strictly heterosexual or homosexual. A cheater is a cheater regardless of your sexual orientation.
Absolutely.
But just acknowledging that he had these feelings but hadn't acted on them. When we talk about intimacy in a marriage, that's part of like, baby, I have these feelings. I want to be honest with you about who I am. I'm not stepping out, but I want you to know that I am struggling with this, and I can't do it by myself if we're going to have a chance. But it gives the drama of like, oh no, he wants to be with the man. He can't possibly want me. It's like, we can't keep ignoring that bisexual people exist.
Yeah.
They are there. And they need to be seen.
And to that point, Parnell, I think yes, we understand that there are conversations around and fear and trauma around people who have felt that they were, specifically women who felt like, I married this man, and then all of a sudden he didn't tell me that he liked men or was attracted to men. Okay, got it, great, I understand. But have you really thought about the conversation of, did you make it a safe space to even have a conversation around sexuality in men? Did you make it a safe space, or even a safe space for men to be in touch with their feminine side, to and or even just talk about sexuality, to explore their sexuality? We don't do that in our community. It's either you're straight or you're gay.
Right.
There's no in between.
Right.
So I'm gonna be honest. I used to be like, well, no, I don't think that anybody's bisexual. They're just using it as a way to cover up, the fact, or just to ease the pain of. That's what I did. I told when I first came out as a teenager, I'm bi, mom. Knowing full dang all well that I loved the dad.
Yes. Yes. You're bi, all right. You walked past 12 women. You walked right by them to get to that dude.
I surely did. But at the end of the day, like, we don't have conversations. We don't allow conversations, and because we don't have a problem when women do it. If they're just going through a phase, or they're having college kisses, or whatever the situation is, and or we encourage you know, women to do that stuff. You know, it's sexy when two women kiss or whatever. So we encourage it. It becomes less taboo and more of a situation of an erotic situation, as opposed to having a conversation where men feel safe. Y'all are cutting up with these comments. Where men feel safe to have those conversations, you know, about their sexuality, about their femininity, about you know, being softer, you know, at certain times, instead of this militant, you know, angry, you know, I have to protect her type situation.
Right. And there's a lot more going on in people's private lives than we know about. It's a lot more common than people think. You know, there are a lot more open marriages than people think, but the whole respectability of just like, oh, well, you know, we have to have this this was just one man and one woman for the rest of our life, blah, blah, blah. When the reality, when you really talk to people, you see what's going on, it's like, yeah, that's the public face y'all put on, but reality is he's sniffing over here, she's sniffing over there, whatever the combination may be. And I remember Iyanla Benzana asked this question when somebody was saying, but what do you consider cheating? It's not cheating if you both know what you're getting into. Then you have an agreement, you're entering in like, okay, as a couple, this is our commitment to one another, but I'm free to dibble and dabble over here if I want to, if I see somebody cute over there, or maybe it's only when we're on vacation or only with, you know, a certain person, whatever, that people make all these different arrangements that is not new, that have always been going on, you know, since humanity has been hooking up, you know, so it's kind of like, but we want to chastise people for being open and honest, but then we want to chastise them when they lie about who they really are. You know, I see some of my friends who are monogamous and they get with people who aren't. It never ends well. Don't do it. If you want a monogamous person, hold out until you get a monogamous person. You know, and if you are a monogamous person, don't hold on. And if you're a non-monogamous person, don't hold on to somebody who wants monogamy from you and you can't deliver that.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, and these are the conversations that I like to have, especially with the younger generation, because a lot of times like, oh, well, if my husband ever did this and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, you're not ready for it, baby, because I guarantee you, the person that you love the most is going to be the person who pisses you off to the 10th level of pistivity at some point in the relationship. That's the real deal. So, but how you get past that, how you bond beyond that is what makes marriage.
Yes.
Everybody who's been together longer than 2 minutes will tell you. I see it all the time. My friends who are celebrating 30, 40 years ago. Oh, we have laughed together. We have cried together. We've been through ups and downs. We've been through hardships. We've been through joys. That's marriage. The wedding is a day. The wedding is one day. Everything's beautiful there. Marriage is how do we get past the things when we get on each other's nerves.
Yeah.
You know, I've been married going on 10 years now. We've been together coming up on 14. And
that's 20 years in you
know, and we have had moments where we have gotten on each other's nerves, but we remake the commitment. But this is the person I want to build a life with.
Yeah,
I would rather have this person getting on my nerves for the next 30 years than to keep continuously looking for, okay, there's got to be something better. Where's this one? You know, who's the one that's finer, the one that's got more money, the one that's got a bigger penis, the one that's got a fatter ass, you know, whatever. It's like all that is out there. But that doesn't mean that you can always get that. But that doesn't make that the better person for you. You gotta know.
It's funny how 50. Yeah, best. Tony says when the honeymoon is over. Exactly. Yeah, that's real talk. Yeah. Now. We're gonna have to get back on again, Parnell, because
I would love that. Yes, please.
You can drop a wisdom. Now, with that, well, first of all, do you have a church background? Do you, meaning like, you know, have you been?
Yeah, you know, I was not really, we didn't do church a whole lot, but I got involved when I was, again, about 15 or so. Got some friends who I went to school with, and they needed some boys in the youth choir. And so they got me to come along, and I would only go on the third Sundays when the youth choir sang at first. And then we started going more and more. And I was telling my mom and dad, like, oh, no, these people fall down the aisle and they have to throw a little blanket over them because the women's, skirts are coming up. And my mom, like, oh, Lord, Parnell done joined a holiness church. We got to see what's going on. and they came to the church and realized that they knew the pastor and his wife from before who became. It's like, oh, that's Bill and Carolyn. And so then my entire family started coming, and then our family friends all started coming. We all ended up going to church. And so that was my whole big thing. And then when I moved to LA, I was going to Unity Fellowship, and I was involved in the choir there and stuff, and working at Minority Age Project. And I started doing a lot more, I guess, kind of my independent theological study, where I was reading stuff about, a history of God, the origin of Satan, untold stories of the Bible. I feel like, what is this? I'm like, I want to know why we believe what we believe. And I found out the more that I learned, the less that I believed. You start going like, oh, this is why we believe, because people were just like, okay, this is what we're going to teach. We're not going to teach the whole truth. We're going to focus on right here. And I got to the point where I think that there are spiritual truths that are spread throughout all kind of different religious beliefs. So I really became I'm more of a spiritual person, as opposed to a doctrine of any one religion. But I did come up through a Christian background, and that was kind of hard to be able to even say first, because people are like, what do you mean you're not a Christian? I'm like, there are other beliefs in the world, right? Like, everybody believes their path is the path, but that doesn't make it. And I'm just like, my whole thing is like, well, I think you all are limiting God when you say there is only one way to get to me. It's like,
wow.
It's like, I've always felt like, God, again, is that color purple. God ain't a man. God is that purple, those purple flowers on there that get mad at you if you walk by and don't notice it. God is that energy that connects all of us, that we look at each other and we see each other's humanity, regardless of our skin color, our gender, our sexual orientation, our economic status, or educational background. That is when, when I look and I see God, just like, okay, that's God right there, that person right there. That's God right there in those animals over there. Oh my God, look at those trees, look at those flowers. That's God. Not something that we have to like be in fear of and bow down to and worship and all this stuff, but just that community. God is love. That was the one thing I think that made people made Unity Fellowship so attractive, because God is love, and love is for everybody.
Yeah.
Not just those people who believe like me. I mean, Archbishop Bean used to say it all the time. If you only love and care for the people who look like and think like you, what have you done? The challenge is in loving those people who are different from you. The challenge is loving those people who have a different faith, those people who are Wiccan, those people who are atheists, those people, I guess I'm kind of agnostic is where I am at this point, and those people who are Jewish, those people who are Hindu. That is just like going, okay, all right, that's your path. That is your belief. I respect that. My belief doesn't mean you have to believe what I believe. You are free to believe what you want to be. I'm free to believe what I want to believe in. And I wrote my t-shirt, because I always say, it's not my job to make you comfortable with my life. Not my job.
That's a word right there.
And I said it so much that people say, you can put that on a t-shirt. So I did. Oh, I should have worn my t-shirt.
You know what's funny? I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and she was telling me, she was like, Kwame, it's none of your business what other people think of you.
Right.
It's none of your business
right.
what other people think of you. It's none of your business what other people think of you. It's your business what you think of you. And so I like to mind the business that pays me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I remember watching Oprah years ago. I have a doctorate in Oprahology, I tell people. And I remember she was talking about when you turn 40 is when you start caring less about what people think about you. And I remember that happening to me. I was like going, yeah, I don't care what people think.
Someone else told me that.
Yeah. And it just comes up. And then when you hit 50, then you're really more like going, child, I'm 50 years old. I ain't worried about them people. You think what you think.
It is what it is. It
is what it is. I roll how I roll, and you can either roll with me or roll on about your business.
Yeah.
And I just try to be loving and kind to everybody that I come across. And if you get negative energy from me, look at what you gave me. I'm only giving back what you give me.
I mean, that's it right there. That's it right there. Cocktails. Katrina says 40 is liberating.
That's why I'm drinking this drink here. So I thought it was more impressive than just water. It's just grape juice, but it gives the illusion. It gives the illusion that I'm having a cocktail as we, you know. I know I spoiled it now. I spoiled it now, but it really is. I should have just just pretending I was drunk. And another thing,
Victor Whitaker said, "We're only back to your energy." I mean, really, honestly, at that point. But I first of all, I can talk to you all day because I think that you are full of wisdom and you're just like a dope human being. And so I am honored that you came on. I am thankful that you came on. Tell people what you're doing now and what people can expect from you in the next couple of months.
Oh yeah, thank you. Because I completely forgot we were supposed to be talking about that. I am the board chair of Celebration Theater, which is one of the country's oldest continually producing LGBTQ theaters. And right now we are about to open our play, The Real Black Swan, Confessions of America's First Black Drag Queen.
Oh, wow.
Who's William Dorsey Swan, who was a former enslaved person, who was the first person known to be identified as the queen of drag. And so he was one of the people who was like, all his friends called him the queen. And this was back when, drag wasn't the wigs and the makeup and drag as we know it now, but it was just, male people putting on a dress and a hat and going out and being, she and that whatnot. And he was constantly being arrested, but would still go back and would throw his parties, and just really was kind of the first queer activist because he petitioned to have the charges against him dismissed. And I forget who the president was at the time. Sorry. Of course, was just like, I'm not dismissing these charges against you. But that was like the first known gay person to actually fight for their right to exist as they are. So it's going to be at the Lily Tomlin Jane Wagner Center at the Gay and Lesbian Center here in LA. And opening night is September 9th. Tickets are available at Celebration Theater. That's theater, theatre.org. So please go get your tickets and watch our friend Les Kuykendall Barrett tell his story. It's a one-man show. It's about 75 minutes. Come on out and see it.
Yes.
I'm a producer.
Yeah, he's a producer, y'all. Sister Michelle asked if you will be coming to the DC area anytime soon.
Sure. If somebody wants to pay me to come and perform.
I know that's right.
I got Parnell, Marcano. I sing, I dance, I act. I speak. If y'all need a speaker, I got to grow my brand, but I don't have any travel plans as of now to go. I miss my days of being the one and only male supreme singing with Mary Wilson because I traveled all over the place. So now, I do. Oh, that's another one. I am singing with Thelma Houston here at Cerritos on the 16th as part of this car event that's going on. So y'all come see Thelma Houston. I'll be back there singing my.
You gotta sing Parnell. Yes. Don't charge Pyro for that. That wasn't. Thank you so much, Parnell, for coming through for real.
Thank you.
Ethan Whitaker says, "Okay, you better come through with history. Love it. Come through with fulfilling the purpose, Mr. McConnell." Yes, I know that's right. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Parnell, again, we have to have you on the show. And Kyrie had said we need to get you on one of our fun Fridays on Pyro Power Hour. I think you would enjoy that. So I'm going to have Samuel reach back out to you and see when your schedule is available to come through on there for a live speaking. Is there anything you want to tell the people, maybe listening or maybe now on the thank you, Cupcakes. Come on, Celebration Theater.
Yeah, awesome.
Best mod in these YouTube streets, Cupcakes. But yes, is there anything you want to tell the people who are watching or who will be watching the replay?
The only thing similar to my, it's not my job to make you comfortable with my life. Live your life in your truth and don't worry about who likes it or not. The only person that really matters, not me, but yourself.
Yes.
all that matters is that I love you. If I approve, you're okay.
Right. It only matters to Parnell.
What would Parnell do?
What would you better put that on a shirt?
Right.
What Parnell did. Right? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you guys. Don't forget to hit that Cash App if you feel so inclined to go ahead and bless me. Kwame C86. Thank you all that have already sent in some Cash Apps and also blessing the platform. And also hit that like button, share if you haven't done so already, and hit that subscribe so people can go ahead and check out all of the awesome things that's happening on Pyro Media Network and all of the things that's happening on Kwame Speaks Official. Thank you so much, Parnell, again for coming on. I love you, my brother. I wish you all of the best. And again, you will be back on the beat. Don't be a stranger.
I will not.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Y'all have a blessed one. Remember, it's a great day to have a great day. So create one. See you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.